You're watching St. Lucia's only 100% digital television station, Hot 7 TV.
A pleasant good morning to our listeners and viewers. Welcome to another episode of The Wellness Hour. The Wellness Hour is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, together with Hot 7, and this is your trusted source for health information. The Wellness Hour is sponsored by the Caribbean Development Bank and Interdevelopment Bank. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Delphina Verna. I will be your host. Before we start, I just want to say a big thank you to Onika, who has been holding us down for the past couple of weeks as we've been going through our series on a healthy plate. And today we're bringing you episode 4 in that series, My Plate, a Healthy Plate. Also, as we begin, I just want to take the opportunity to extend sincere condolences to the management and staff of Hot 7 on behalf of the Ministry of Health, as we became aware of the passing of one of their staff members, DJ Benno. He was obviously a very well-loved member of their staff, and by extension, we offer our condolences to his friends and family. We hope that they will be comforted by all the good memories that they shared, and we pray that his soul rests in peace. Just before we get into our series for today, our healthy plate discussion for today, just to give you a few updates, a few highlights as to what has been taking place within the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs. So many of you would have heard about the fire which was happening at our Dayglow Sanitary Landfill that started approximately 1 week ago. So the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority did inform the public of that fire, and the Ministry of Health, once we became aware of the situation, joined the team to address the matter. The St. Lucia Fire Service has worked feverishly to extinguish this fire and to avert the health impacts to our nearby residents. The Ministry of Health also worked with NEMO to distribute masks to persons from surrounding areas who were being affected by the smoke and other particulate matter that was being emanated from the fire. We just want persons to be aware if you are experiencing any symptoms still, so any persons with persistent cough, if you're experiencing any itchy eyes, watery eyes, nose, any irritation to your throat, especially for our persons who may have underlying chronic illnesses, particularly respiratory illnesses, our children, elderly persons who are our more vulnerable population. We ask that you please present to your nearest wellness center so that you could be assessed and any necessary treatment be administered. We are extremely grateful for the hard work of the St. Lucia Fire Service to help bring the situation under control, but we just want to urge the residents or anyone who may have been affected to seek the necessary medical treatment if you think you need to do so. And also, as you may know, this month, October, is celebrated globally as the month where we bring awareness to breast cancer. It's something that we have been doing for a number of years now, and I'm sure everyone is very familiar with all the lovely pink decorations that we see and the talk surrounding breast cancer during this month. Let's take in a short clip from the health statement done by our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, together with the rest of the world, observes October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month and intensifies public health education to improve awareness among women of the importance of screening, the signs and symptoms of breast cancer, and to understand the importance of early detection and treatment. We anticipate that with accurate information, more women would lead healthier lifestyles to prevent breast cancer, ensure regular screening, and consult medical practitioners when breast cancer is first suspected, and before it is advanced. Early diagnosis is important as it is linked to effective and timely cancer treatment that requires specialized cancer care. Globally, there were 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer and 670,000 deaths in 2022, making it the most prevalent cancer in the world. Breast cancer was the most common cancer in women in 157 countries out of 185 in the year 2022. Approximately 0.5 to 1% of breast cancers occur in men. Over the past 5 years, breast cancer has consistently ranked as the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths among women. In 2023, it emerged as the primary cause of potential years of life lost among women aged 25 to 44, accounting for a total of 543 years lost. Notably,
and there we have it, that part of our statement, health statement there from our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. So, this is always a significant awareness month for us at the Ministry of Health, just because, as she mentioned there, breast cancer is a significant cause of morbidity and mortality for our young women here in St. Lucia. Again, mentioning that men are also affected, so definitely not something that we should forget. And if there are any men who are experiencing any signs or symptoms, if you notice you have a lump in your breast, you notice something that is different, it's definitely not something that should be ignored. As you saw, men can also get breast cancer. So during this month of October, this is a fight for persons who are not even diagnosed as yet, the persons who are currently living and fighting the battle, as well as our survivors, persons who have gone through the treatment, the therapy, and have survived. It doesn't end there for them, it continues. So one of the things we always do within the ministry and also, just outside, is to usually wear pink on Fridays. So I'd encourage everyone tomorrow to wear pink to support all of our persons living and survivors of breast cancer. And of course, look out to hear more about some of the upcoming activities that we have to observe Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Just to mention one other thing, very recently, under Universal Health Coverage, the Ministry of Health started offering mammogram services to women who need for screening purposes at no cost to you. So once again, I would encourage all young women or all women, if you have a family history, you have any concern, and especially our women over 40, to visit your wellness center, see the physician, and to get an assessment to determine whether you are ready for your first screening mammogram, which you can receive at no cost to you. So once again, no cost to you. You can get your screening mammogram, and remember, when we detect those cases early, you have a better chance of early intervention and better survival rates. So encouraging everyone to visit your wellness center and get that assessment done. And just one more thing, just to let persons know, I'm sure everyone has been, feeling the heat, and it's something that's continued from our summer months into October. So this week has been an extremely hot week, and St. Lucia has actually been experiencing what was described as extremely severe heat. And as you know, there are implications for health when we are having these extreme temperatures. So we want persons to be aware and to do what is necessary to protect yourself from the effects of that heat. So if you have to be outdoors, ensure that you're wearing appropriate clothing. You can use a hat, you can use an umbrella, ensure that you are well hydrated. Again, for our vulnerable populations, the elderly, persons with chronic illnesses, our children and infants, you want to ensure that you're protecting them and avoiding being out in the sun if it's not absolutely necessary. Ensure that you are well hydrated, and if you experience any symptoms like headache, dizziness, excessive sweating, nausea, feeling generally unwell, then it means that you are probably experiencing dehydration, you're probably experiencing symptoms of the extreme heat. So you want to take heed and be aware of those things. So we will go ahead and take a short break. When we return, we will get into our episode 4 of our Healthy Plate series. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
We are working parents.
And we breastfed both babies exclusively.
Moi fais 6 chiches, moi ba yo tout tété qui yo tout ni bon cervelle.
Mother's breast milk is naturally the best milk for baby. Love yourself and love your baby.
We were breastfed and we are healthy.
Breastfeeding saves me money and it's free.
Every moment I breastfeed strengthens the bond between me and my baby.
I breastfed twin boys and lost all my baby fat.
We were breastfed
and we have breast milk power.
I am Pastor Alvin and I support breastfeeding.
For more information, call the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5359.
Trans fats are either naturally occurring or industrially produced. Industrially produced trans fats are made by adding hydrogen to vegetable oils, so make them solid. These oils become hydrogenated oils and can be found in the nutrition facts of certain products. Look closely in the ingredients list for hydrogenated oils, which would indicate that the product contains trans fats.
This message is brought to you by the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Yes, that was the Lucia Top 5 for Carnival 2025. Yes, welcome back to Real Men Take Charge, guys. Real Men Check Up.
To all my listeners out there, visit a men's health clinic in your area today.
PSA checkups are now free.
It's private, it's quick, it's efficient, and convenient.
Music touches the soul, but health keeps the rhythm going. Fellas, it's time to check your PSA levels. It's free, it's simple, it will save your life.
Brothers, do you not know that your bodies are the temples of the Holy Spirit? Let us be wise stewards of our lives. Prostate test saves lives. Let us not wait until it is too late.
To be a champion, you need to show up for yourself. I'm encouraging every man to take the step. Get checked. Stay strong. Do it for the team. Do it for your family.
My daddy is a hero, and I want him around for a very long time. Daddy, if you care about me, please take care of your health.
I faced colon and prostate cancer head on, and I'm still standing. Early detection saved my life. If I can do it, so can you. Don't wait. Get tested. It's free, it's simple, and it will definitely save your life also.
Real men.
Real men.
Real men take charge.
Real men check up.
Welcome back to the Wellness Hour. My name is Delphina Verna. So the Wellness Hour, as you know, brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs with Hot 7 TV and sponsored by the Caribbean Development Bank and Interdevelopment Bank. So today we are so proud to bring to you episode 4 in our My Plate, A Healthy Plate series. And joining me, who is no stranger to you now, is our Chief Nutritionist, Ms. Lisa Hunt. Welcome back to the Wellness Hour, Ms. Hunt.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. It's always good to have you. And so, as you know, we've had our 3 episodes prior to today. Our first one, we looked at building a healthy plate. And then we looked at portion sizes. In our last episode, we looked at healthy snacks and especially looking at, what we can do for our children and all of that. And so today we have another episode to bring to you. So I will allow Ms. Hunt to tell you what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay. So in this episode, we're looking at smoothies. It's a very short episode because the last one was about 25 minutes, which I thought was too long. So this episode is a shorter one with smoothies looking at ways of incorporating fruits and vegetables into the diet. It's It's a very easy way to get fruits and vegetables, especially for children who do not like to eat vegetables. So I figured it would be a good way, you know, to show people how to make some very simple recipes. And of course, you can change based on, you know, your taste in terms of what you add to it, etc. So we'll discuss after you enjoy the video. Good day, viewers, and welcome back to My Plate, a Healthy Plate. Today we'll be diving into one of the easiest ways to get fruits and vegetables into your diet: smoothies. Smoothies can be an easy way to get nutrition and nutrients into your body. However, not all smoothies are equal. Some can be unhealthy, high in sugars, and so it is important that you pay attention to what to add to your smoothies. So today we'll be looking at 4 different recipes, simple recipes that you can make to get your fruits and your vegetables into your diet. So we'll be starting off with
okay. Okay, we seem to be having a slight technical issue here with our video, so we're going to come back to that very shortly. Do apologize for that, but maybe we could just have a little discussion until the video is ready to air, and then we'll get back to it. So, Ms. Sanju, you mentioned that today we're talking about smoothies, and I think for many people, they probably think that, you know, it's a very quick way to kind of prepare something, especially in the morning. You know, everybody's rushing out of the house. So let's give us some tips for preparing healthy smoothies. You want to make sure that, you know, if you're going to make something, some people think of it as a meal in a cup on the go. Give us a few healthy tips to preparing smoothies.
Okay, so firstly, you must have like a base for the smoothie. So you can either use something like oats or you can use a banana. Then you want to have either a fruit or a vegetable. I would say both, a fruit and a vegetable, and have some form of fiber or protein. So like you can add some seeds to it, you can add some nuts, and so that will provide the body with some fiber. If your smoothies are only based on just fruits, say for example you just have fruit and milk, what can happen is that the sugar can get into the bloodstream very easily, and so you don't want something that is healthy to turn out to be not healthy. So it's important that you have your base. So you can have oats, you can have a banana, and make sure that you use the fruit as the sweetener. What people don't realize is everybody's having smoothies, buying smoothies everywhere, but some of those smoothies are not healthy. And all smoothies are not created equal. And so you may be drinking your smoothie every day from particular places like commercial smoothies, and they are not healthy because they add syrups to them, sweeteners, sugar, whatever. And if we're trying to move away from consuming too much sugars, you want to use the natural sugar, like from your pineapple, mango, banana. What other fruits we have that are very sweet?
Watermelon.
Watermelon.
Yes.
So use the fruits as a natural sweetener to avoid the sugar-laden smoothies, because if you want to consume smoothies to be part of a healthy diet, your healthy plate, you do not want to be adding too much sugar and making it unhealthy. So that's very important.
I think that's a very important point that you're making, because, you know, we have a lot of places where you can go and purchase smoothies. So I think if we need to be aware of what is going into our smoothies, and we can probably even ask them,
or prepare it in front of you.
Yeah, and
because they add syrups, and that's why it's so good, because they're laden with syrups, and so
maybe we need to say, you know, hold the syrup, and you know, you just want it with the fresh fruit, and as you said, a base, something that's going to add a little bit more substance
fiber,
and nutritional value
to keep you full. Because if it's just you know, fruits and vegetables, if they're not fibrous, then what can happen is that you may not feel full. But having like an oats or some flax seeds or chia seeds, you know, that can actually help to fill you up. And there's fiber for healthy digestion, and you know, your protein source, you need the protein in there as well.
So you mentioned the protein source, and a lot of people, I notice now, will add protein powder to their smoothies. Is that something that you would recommend?
Yes, you can add your protein powder to there, but you know, protein powder can be expensive, but for those persons who cannot afford protein powder, you can add your nuts. Whichever nuts that you like, you can add it to your smoothies. And also flax seeds is high in protein, and chia seeds, and you have pumpkin seeds as well.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4 or 5.
So we have some different options. Okay. So you mentioned using like just fruits alone to prepare your smoothies, and I think, you know, some people tend to do that. Before you learn about what the smoothie should contain, we think of smoothies and we think of fruits. So you may put just your 5 fruit servings in one cup, right? And as you said, that could tend to give you a bit of a sugar rush or increase your blood sugar very quickly, and you won't feel very full afterwards. Are there any other ingredients that you would say we should be mindful of when making our smoothies? Things that we should try to avoid or use in moderation?
Yeah, I mentioned the sugar. So you don't want to add sugar or sweetened juices. You want to use it as natural as possible. And I don't recommend having too many fruits in there. If you're going to add about 3 different fruits, make sure that they are in small quantities. So it's not, so it's come out to be about maybe 2 servings, and balance it with some vegetables. You know, because you can have some green vegetables in there. I guess it depends on what type of smoothie you're making as well. But we do not want to add the sweetened juices or syrups or sugars, and you don't want too much of milk, like cream, because you know, these, while it may increase the flavor, makes it better, but it can turn out to be an unhealthy thing. So you want the milk to be either plant-based, like you can have your plant-based, but even if you do decide to use cow milk, at least a lower version, a lower fat or lower in quantity.
So some of the things that we can use to help liquefy, I know we like coconut water.
Coconut water is a good option. Coconut water.
Yeah, so coconut water.
Natural juices. Or just water itself.
And I find like, for example, something like watermelon, which has a very high water content,
you don't even need
or cucumbers, you don't need to add any additional liquid to the smoothie. So again, the balance. So if you're depending on, if say you're using something like spinach leaves, or then using watermelon will give you that water and the sweetness at the same time.
And I want people to know that it's okay to. So it's okay if it doesn't come out the way you want to, because even while I was making the smoothie, like the green one, if you realize, well, after you see the video, you'll understand. It was actually very thick because I used spinach. And spinach has fiber, and it tends to gelatinize when you blend it. And then I added avocado.
So
it wasn't a big piece, but it just made that so creamy and thick that I needed some more water. So it's okay if when you make your smoothie it's a little too thick, you just add some more liquid, and you know, you just play around with
forgiving.
it.
Very forgiving. Something else to ask. So is it a recommendation? So some persons might be saying, you know, I'm on a liquid diet because I'm trying to lose weight, or, you know, you have people say these things. Do you recommend substituting your meals with smoothies, or is it something that you should incorporate into your diet?
Now, I want to be very clear on this. As much as I think that smoothies are an easy, quick, or healthy way of getting fruits and vegetables in the diet, I would not recommend it to always be taking the place of a meal, because we were designed in a way that we have teeth, that we're supposed to be, you know, eating our foods, chewing and ensuring that you have all your enzymes work on the food. So, you know, having liquid all the time, to me, will after a while might affect your digestive system. So I think it can be used as a replacement sometimes, but I would not recommend it to be maybe for long term. If you want to juice fast or something like that, that's fine. But as of everything, it's moderation. So I would not even recommend having smoothies every single day. However, if you have a child who's having juice every day, a smoothie would be a better option. So I want people to understand me clearly. Whilst I don't think it's something that you should be having every single day, however, if it's a better replacement than having just juices.
Okay. I can definitely understand. And we always say all things in moderation. So again, as you said, if you have maybe you're doing a 1 week, program or a liquid diet for a week, that's okay. But otherwise, maybe you supplement.
Or you're having different ones. So it's like not having the same smoothie all the time.
Right.
Or you're having different things in that smoothie. So okay, you say, okay, I'm having spinach smoothie today, tomorrow you're having your fruits, and so if you change it, then it can be okay, but you need to chew your food.
What about yogurts? So a lot of people add yogurts to their smoothies. What are your recommendations for that?
Yes, yogurts are fine. Just that if it's not one that is laden with sugar, although I find some of the yogurts now they are cutting back on the sugar, but there are plain yogurts that can be used, and that's a good base.
What about Greek yogurt? So
even better.
Sometimes when you go to the supermarket, you see such a variety, and some persons may not understand or may not know how to look at the ingredients and to choose which one is best. So as you mentioned, you have the plain yogurt, but then you may also have like whole milk, or you may have low fat, you have the Greek, you have high protein. Is there any ones that you would say are better suited for this purpose?
I find the low fat ones are usually high in sugar. I would even go for the whole ones if somebody doesn't have any health conditions. Read your labels as usual. Look at what is in the yogurt. It will say how much sugar is in there. If there's no sugar, the plain one has no sugar, so it's the best. And you can use the plain one and add the fruits to it, and it actually makes it sweet. So, or chop your fruits and eat it as it is. The Greek is the best. It's the best. But it's expensive. So
it forces us to use it in moderation.
Yes, it's expensive. So but look at the sugar contents and
so I will just give a tip, something that I use. So sometimes you may have fruit at home, and say for example you bought bananas and they're getting overripe, and you don't want to dispose of them because then that's money you're putting in the bin, right? So I like to freeze any extra fruit that I have.
That's what I do.
And you can just keep it on hand. You label them, or usually you can see what it is. So I would put the frozen bananas. You can do it with watermelon, mangoes. When mangoes are in season and you have a lot and it's too much to eat all at the same time, you could freeze it. Almost any fruit, and you can keep it in the freezer. And on a morning, it's very easy to take those things out, and you just blend up with whatever you're adding, and you add your coconut water, etc., to make your smoothie. Something else that I've found with just with the frozen fruit, when you blend it, a lot of times it almost just comes out even like a sorbet or an ice cream. So
the children would love that.
Yes, I was just going to say, usually my daughter would be like, I want it frozen. So I would take it out, you blend it up, and it's almost like a sorbet, and then she would eat it with a spoon as opposed to...
Or you can put it in those... Make it as a popsicle and freeze it. So I do that.
So another idea there, especially for our children, and to try and get them to incorporate more fruits and vegetables in their diet. So I just wanted to share that because it's
it's the best
from
way
personal
because
experience.
Some children don't like vegetables, especially spinach.
Yes.
So it's a nice way of masking the spinach.
Definitely. And as Ms. Hunt was explaining, you always want to balance. So you have a fruit and you have a vegetable. So it's a way to kind of sneak something in.
Carrots.
They may not even realize.
Cabbage, you can,
Okay, so since while we're still waiting on our video, I think we can go ahead and do the launch of our media plate section. So we spoke about, for this series that we're doing, a healthy plate, and in the first show, Ms. Hunt spoke about how we should arrange our plates, how much you should have on the plate, what sections, in what quantities. So the Ministry of Health has now put this out because we want everyone to be aware, and we want everyone to start practicing those things. And when you go to purchase food, especially, a lot of times you will notice that your plate does not look like this. So we're trying to encourage persons to ensure that we use this healthy plate to model our meals. So Ms. Hunt, tell us a little bit about the plate.
Yes, so as you can see, demonstration, half of the plate has fruits and vegetables, or just vegetables. Excuse me. So it can be like a salad, or it can be steamed vegetables. And you want the other quarter of the plate to be your protein source, whether it's animal protein, your meat, and peas or beans. And the other quarter would be your staples. So that's where you will have your provisions, preferably, so, or rice. I don't like to promote rice, but you know, rice or pasta, and whichever staple that you choose to have. You can mix it, but make sure it's quarter of the plate, and it should not be heaped. You know, because some people may say, okay, I'm having quarter of the plate, quarter of it, but it's like, you know, stack up, but that's what we are.
So as we can see here in our plate, so on our vegetable side, we have a mix of steamed vegetables and raw vegetables. So I think that's a nice way, so that, you know, you have some different consistency, some different textures, colors, you know, so you have more variety. So you have your steamed vegetables or your cooked vegetables, and then you have your fresh raw vegetables, which provide you with, you know, lots of nutrition, lots of nutrients in that raw state. Of course, our avocado also provides us with some good fats and oils, so fats, you're getting that as well. And so let's talk a little bit about the carbohydrate section. As you know, when you go to a restaurant to buy food here in St. Lucia, we have a plate that is heavily carb-based. Carb-based, yes. You know,
sometimes 3 types.
Right. Most times, you know, we get half of the plate.
Half of the plate. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
So half of the
as opposed to the vegetables.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about portioning that we see. For example, you mentioned, you know, a few slices of the provision or 2 pot spoons of rice and vegetables. So I want to talk about the pot spoons because I want people to understand what we mean when we say a pot spoon. So Ms. Hunt actually has a pot spoon here.
What a pot spoon to demonstrate. So so when we speak of a pot spoon, 2 pot spoon is supposed to be equal to half of a cup. And so this is a pot spoon. So a pot spoon means that you don't heap it. If you heap it, then it would be 1 serving would be for the heaped one. But you want it to be almost like leveled. So this is a pot spoon, right? So 2 of this would be 1 serving. Now if it's very heaped, like if you're having rice, then it will be 1 serving, 1 pot spoon.
Yeah, so I thought it was important to mention that because, you know, it's a relatively large spoon. So I could just see somebody, you know, you go into that pot and you have a nice heaped spoon. Right? But that's not what we're saying. We're saying that it has to be kind of a leveled off amount.
Approximately 3 tablespoons. It's not, it looks large, but it's not a lot. It's when you heap it, depending on what type of rice you make. Because I tried it with beans, and because beans has liquid, it cannot be heaped.
Right.
So with the rice, it can be. So it depends on what you.
And the other important thing to mention right there about the plate is it's saying or. So we have rice or pasta or the provisions. And obviously, if you're going to be doing all of them, then it means that you need a smaller quantity in each, right? So if you have maybe 1 piece of banana and 1 piece of dashing, then it means you can only have maybe half a pot spoon of rice and whatever else to ensure that you meet the recommendation.
I think as a country we eat way too much carbohydrates. Whilst we promote eating provisions, you know, when you see the amount of provisions on the plate, it's way too much. So and I can see that some of the takeaway plates actually has the section. So where they're putting the carbs is where it should be the vegetable.
Right.
And you know,
so that will take a whole
it'll take a while, but we can at least start cutting back on the carbohydrates.
And then, you know, it means that for us, when you go to purchase food, for example, you can ask and say, well, if they have rice and chow mein or macaroni and cheese and fig salad, and they have like 4 or 5 different options for starch, you can always ask for. Some persons will accommodate.
Yeah, I think they do ask you what sides you, in some places, what sides you want. And so it's up to you to say, I only want 1 side, or I want 2 sides, or I want more. Because what I find in some places, they actually charge proportion as to what you buy. Not everywhere.
Not everywhere.
But I'm sure if you go to a restaurant or a place, food establishment, and you say you want less food, nobody going to be saying, it's going to be a win for them. So they're not going to be like, They'll give you less.
So hopefully our restaurateurs are also listening and will not be discouraged when persons request more vegetables or more salad on their plates as opposed to more of the different carbohydrate portions of food, and they will work with us as we try to curb, because the whole point of this is for us to look at the root causes of some of the things that we are seeing as the ministry in terms of what diseases are causing issues in terms of morbidity and mortality, so causing persons to become sick, causing people to die, and those are the non-communicable diseases, so the high blood pressure, the diabetes, and it all starts with good nutrition, and this is one of the big motivators for us, launching this series and speaking about it and wanting everyone to be on board with it, the My Plate, a Healthy Plate. And it's very interesting because just this morning, my daughter's teacher, my daughter is in grade 5, posted an assignment, and the assignment was literally this: they have to prepare a healthy plate and talk to the class about it.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so they're in
Get
groups.
the children involved.
Yeah.
That's very important.
And I thought it was excellent. I shared this with her and said, this is what we're doing. And it's so important for us to teach our children so that they can start at a younger age, and then that way they grow up eating like this. It becomes part of their daily life, and it's harder for them to now want to eat a full plate of carbs because they're used to incorporating the vegetables and having an adequate amount. So definitely something we want to encourage from all ages.
Yes, we want to change the culture of eating that high carbohydrate, big large plate of food, and we need to add some more vegetables to our plate, and we need to add some peas to our plate, and cut back on the provisions. I mean, I grew up with it, so I know exactly what the plate looks like. But we need to change the culture. We need to start eating healthier if we want to change the way, like you mentioned, the NCDs. We want to reduce it because it's killing all of us, our families.
It's definitely affecting us.
It's a big problem.
So we will go into our notices for this week, and then we'll take a short break, and hopefully when we're back we'll be able to show you that video on our smoothie production. So just to let you know, as you know, the mobile blood bank is around, and we always speak about the blood bank and where they're located because it's such an important cause. And it's really hurtful sometimes when you see persons constantly requesting blood because we don't have adequate supply in the blood bank. So today, October 9th, the blood bank is situated at the William Peter Boulevard. They will be there from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And tomorrow, Friday, October 10th, they would be at the Royal St. Lucia Police Force Academy in La Toc from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So yes, we're targeting the police officers, but persons can also walk in to any venue. And remember, the process is not a long one. You just want to ensure that you've had something to eat, you're in a healthy state, you're not sick, you don't have a flu or anything like that. For persons with chronic conditions, you can still donate, even if you're on medication with high blood pressure or diabetes. As long as you are feeling well, your blood pressure is controlled, you can still donate. The actual process of taking the blood, it's not usually more than 15 minutes. So it doesn't take much time from your day. So I encourage anyone, maybe you're in town and you see the bus parked. I'm sure you'll see the bus parked there in William Peter Boulevard, and we just pass it straight every day. Take some time and go in. If you have any questions, the technicians, the lab technicians, I'm sure would be more than happy to answer your questions and make you feel comfortable with the process, and you can help save a life. You can actually help save 3 lives, as we always say, with just the donation of 1 pint of blood. So encouraging everyone, if you are able to donate to the blood bank. So we'll go ahead and take a short break now. Do stay with us. We will be right back.
Trans fats are either naturally occurring or industrially produced. Industrially produced trans fats are made by adding hydrogen to vegetable oils, so make them solid. These oils become hydrogenated oils and can be found in the nutrition facts of certain products. Look closely in the ingredients list for hydrogenated oils, which would indicate that the product contains trans fats.
This message is brought to you by the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Join us every Thursday from September 4th on Hot 7 from 9:30am to 10:30am. Don't miss this great opportunity to make life-benefiting changes to preparing meals.
For the next series.
Now you can have your deaf announcements and teleobituaries heard on Sundays, right after the church service with Father Albert from the Babano Good Shepherd Catholic Church. That's right. On Sundays, have your deaf announcements and teleobituaries heard right here on Hot 7 TV and Kiss FM simultaneously. Call 452-6040 from Monday to Friday. Call and make arrangements for your deaf announcements and teleobituaries to be heard at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and on Sunday right after the church service with Father Albert from the Babano Good Shepherd Catholic Church.
We are working parents,
and we breastfed both babies exclusively.
Moi fais 6 chiches, moi ba yo tout tete ki yo tout ni bon cerveau.
Mother's breast milk is naturally the best milk for baby. Love yourself and love your baby.
We were breastfed and we are healthy.
Breastfeeding saves me money and it's free.
Every moment I breastfeed strengthens the bond between me and my baby.
I breastfed twin boys and lost all my baby fat.
We were breastfed.
And we have breast milk power.
I am Pastor Alvin, and I support breastfeeding.
For more information, call the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-53.
Every bed in our hospitals tells us
is our Chief Nutritionist at the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, Ms. Lisa Hunt, who is no stranger to you now. This is our 4th in our series on My Plate, A Healthy Plate. Today we're discussing smoothies. We're having a few technical difficulties with our video, but just a few things I wanted to ask. Since we have our Chief Nutritionist here, we can give you some additional information. So I was just thinking about, sometimes you get a recipe or you see a recipe, or you may have an old recipe that maybe your mom used to make or something. Can you give us some ideas or some suggestions of how we could make those recipes a bit healthier? Other ingredients that you can substitute, things that you can swap out to help us prepare healthier meals for our families?
Yes, so you can change the type of sugar or reduce on the sugar content, on the salt. Most times the salt is too high. You can also change the quality of the ingredients. For example, if the ingredient asks for white flour, you can swap this with whole grain or whole wheat flour, or even oats.
Almond flour.
Like for oats, for pancakes. Oats makes lovely pancakes, and you can actually grind it first to make it look like a flour, like flour base, or you can just use the oats as it is. Other things you can do is change the cooking method. Like, for example, I love fried plantain. I love fried plantain. So I now come up with my method. I do my grilled, up to last night I had it for dinner. I grill my pancake, my plantain on, I have a cast iron. Just put a tiny bit of oil and you just slice it very thinly and it grills it. And to me, that's a nice dinner or breakfast item. So even for
you
the
can
children,
also air fry it as opposed to frying it, in
I
oil.
I prefer the grilled on the pan.
Yeah, it's just another option.
Yes, another option,
something that persons can do.
Yes, so you can change the cooking method. What else? You can change the type of oil. If it asks for, or the milk, as for cow milk, you can swap for coconut milk, because coconut milk is healthy. And so there are many things you can do with ingredients, and that's one of the things we would like to show, not just say it, but even to show the audience as to how they can make recipes healthier. All recipes can have a healthier version. So your cookies may not taste exactly the same, but can still have the same flavor with less sugar. I find some of the recipes just way too much sugar.
So perhaps in some future episodes of My Plate, A Healthy Plate, we will see some of those recipe substitutions actually put into practice and letting you see the end products. I think it's definitely something we can incorporate. And the other thing is that I find that, we can train our palate. So if you're not used to having a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, if you taste something with a lot of salt or sugar, like, this is way salty, somebody who is used to it will be like, no,
and I get that all the time. I mean, I grew up in a household, my mom loves salt. But when I became a dietitian, nutritionist in nutrition, I figured, salt is not a good thing. So I worked on changing my palate. Like my ground provisions, I never add any salt to my ground provision. It does not need it, but some people just cannot eat it without it. So it's all about trying to change your taste buds. It doesn't take that long to change it. I think what the science says, like it takes about 5 weeks to change a habit.
To change a habit,
But even if it takes 3 months, it's worth cutting back on it. Little by little. I may not say to cut out all one time, because change takes time, and so making little steps.
That's what I encourage, especially so as a clinician, when you see patients who come in, they've been recently diagnosed with high blood pressure or diabetes, or maybe they're pre-diabetic, and you do want to start implementing some changes in that, and you have the extreme with someone, okay, from today no salt, and I always say, okay, that's probably not the best way to go about it, because you may do it for a week, but then you will be miserable eating that food with absolutely no salt when you're used to having a good amount of salt. You're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be there's no taste, no flavor, and you will not be happy. So I don't encourage that. I usually tell persons, let's do it in moderation. So if you would add, say you're making rice and you would normally add 1 teaspoon of rice, I say let's cut it in half. So you do half a teaspoon, and maybe you can add something else to give it a little flavor. You put a little sprig of oregano or herbs or some spice in the rice to give it an additional flavor. So that makes it, you add some interest to it. Some persons will add a little bit of turmeric or something else to give some flavor, so you don't miss that extra salt.
Coconut milk gives it good flavor. You don't miss the salt in the coconut milk.
Right. Same for, like you make your morning tea, and I've seen people, you're putting 3 teaspoons of sugar, and I say let's cut in half. We start with half. So if you're using 2 teaspoons or 3 teaspoons, you want to reduce to 1 or 1.5 teaspoons, and then you give yourself some time to adjust, and then you scale down again, right? Until eventually you can get to the point where, especially for our herbal teas, you can have with absolutely no sugar.
No sugar. Just tell yourself you are giving yourself, cleansing your body. I think removing salt from my diet is much easier than sugar, because we all have what we like, but when you know what you know, you have to cut back on it.
But again, in moderation. So, a lot of people say they have a sweet tooth, or maybe after you have your meal, you just feel like it's not complete until you have that little bit of sweetness. I'm sometimes very guilty of
Get
that.
some nice nuts.
But
they
again, moderation,
or
I would
some
say,
raisins,
right? Instead of having a big slice of cake, or, you sit and eat a whole pack of cookies or something, you can have 1, or you can, scale down on the amounts, because obviously that will overall impact the total amount of sugar that you're taking in. One of the other things that I think we need to help persons to do is to read the labels, for the ingredients and the things that they're purchasing. That's a whole new show, a whole show in itself. I definitely agree. But we have a lot more processed foods now than we did, a few years ago. And every day you see something new on the shelves in the supermarket. But I think it's, you know, so important for us to be able to look at the label and to decide whether this is something that we want to purchase, whether it's healthy for us to consume, for our children, especially with the snacks. We see so many snacks, and sometimes it's deceiving. It can be deceiving because you look at it and you know, maybe it's like a granola bar, and you're like, okay, well, granola bars are supposed to be healthy, but then when you look down at the actual ingredients, you look at the overall caloric content, the sugar content. Do you want to give any?
Yeah, but I want to go back to the salt issue. You know, the problem with the salt is it might not even be the salt that the people are adding to the food. A lot of the sodium that they take in is from the processed foods. So if people are actually consuming just, you know, home cooked food, you find they have less an issue of taking too much salt. However, if you are taking in lots of processed foods, your diet will have excessive intake of salt. Because almost everything has processed foods, I'm talking about, has sugar, salt added. It may not be written as sugar and salt, but it will be some sodium sodium that, because there are numerous names for sugar and salt.
So again, so definitely something.
The labels.
Yes,
so the labels, so again,
you
we need to do a show on the labels, so you will see all the different sugar names that they have. It's not written as sugar, and all the different names that salt, that means salt. There are plenty of them, so we're going to do that.
Yes, so definitely putting that down. So we're going to try again to air our video looking at our smoothies and incorporating smoothies into our diets in a healthy, nutritious way.
And welcome back to My Plate, a Healthy Plate. Today we'll be diving into one of the easiest ways to get fruits and vegetables into your diet, smoothies. Smoothies can be an easy way to get nutrition and nutrients into your body. However, not all smoothies are equal. Some can be unhealthy, high in sugars, and so it is important that you pay attention to what to add to your smoothies. So today we'll be looking at 4 different recipes, simple recipes that you can make to get your fruits and your vegetables into your diet. So we'll be starting off with a beet smoothie. So in there we have our beetroot. We also have some ginger. So we're going to be chopping the beetroot into some small chunks so we can blend it. We'll also be adding some yogurt after. You can add anything you want to your smoothies to make it nutritious. It is important that you also have a protein source. I only have chia seeds as a protein source, but you can add, you know, if you want some protein powder, you can add some peanut butter in your smoothies to make it more nutritious. Now, beetroot is very high in iron, which helps with our blood. So we'll be adding a bit of beetroot, then we're going to add some yogurt and some coconut water. So about half a cup of yogurt, probably half of this. And you don't need to measure. You can add based on how thick or how thin you want it. So we have our coconut water here. It's about a cup of coconut water. And a little bit of ginger or flax seeds. And then you blend. So you can look at the consistency. If you want it thicker, you can add some more milk if it's too thick. So this one is a little watery, so we probably would add a little bit more flax seeds, chia seeds. Will help to thicken it up. Now you can have it like this, but I prefer to have my smoothies a little thicker, so I'm going to add a banana to it. So when you are choosing bananas for making your smoothies, make sure the bananas are overripe or close to overripe. Bananas add sweetness to your smoothies, so you do not need to add sugar to it. Let's blend this again. You know, you can use beetroot raw, or you can use it, you can cook it as well. But when it's raw, it actually has, the nutrients are more alive, and it's packed with nutrients. As you can see, it's very red, it's beautiful color. So that's our first smoothie. For some persons, they may not want to, they may want to strain it, but I would advise that you leave the meat in there, because it provides fiber, which helps with digestion, which helps to remove toxins from your body. So our next recipe is a very simple one, which is pineapple and coconut smoothie. So make sure you have some fresh pineapples that is chopped. So we are going to chop it a little more. Pineapple adds some tang and some sweetness to your smoothies. However, there are some pineapples that are so sour that you may need to add a sweetener, like you can add the juice of a pineapple that is sweet, or you can add a banana, or you can add lovely mangoes, because mangoes are very sweet. So we have our pineapple here. And pineapple helps, you know, is packed with potassium, vitamin C, and it also has an enzyme that helps to digest your food. So we're going to add some coconut milk. We prefer to use our fresh coconuts blended and squeezed, but if you don't have that, you can use dehydrated coconut or milk powder, or you can use, you know, canned, but I prefer the fresh ones. So we have our coconut milk. And remember, we are making it to suit your taste. And we also have some ice. So we're going to blend this and see how thick it is. If it's too thin, we'll add some more. So I'll add some water, or so let's look at the thickness. So there you have it, folks. Our coconut milk with crushed ice, pineapple, refreshing. So next we are going to prepare a green smoothie. Okay, so our third recipe is a green smoothie. We'll be using spinach, avocado, and coconut water. So make sure you wash your spinach leaves. We'll be using about 4 spinach leaves. The spinach leaves are very large, so if they're very small, you have very small ones like baby spinach, you'd use a little more. But you don't have to overdo it. So for children who do not like to eat spinach and things like that, you can put it in a drink for them, and you can mask the flavor with our avocado. You can also use cucumber or orange juice, etc. Avocado is very creamy, and so it can make your smoothie very thick, and so you must pay attention to the amount that you are adding. So there you have it. In those ingredients in there, we have avocado, we have spinach, and we have coconut water. Feel free to add some more coconut water. You can add some juice, or you can also add cucumber. Cucumber is hydrating and it has a lot of water. So now we are going to clean this up for our final recipe. So our final recipe for today is pumpkin smoothie. It's bright, it's delicious, it's nutritious. We're using pumpkin. So this is from my backyard pumpkin. This is bright red, it's orange. It's packed with vitamin A, which is good for your eyesight. So we're having about 2 tablespoons of that added to the blender. If you want it thicker, then be my guest, and we're adding some milk. Now, although I am adding some cow's milk, feel free to use any milk of your choice, whether it's coconut milk, oat milk, almond milk, cashew milk, whatever milk you desire. Oh, don't forget the spice. It makes everything nice. So we have some nutmeg and cinnamon in there. So just a pinch, couple of pinches to add some flavor and some essence. Some vanilla essence, just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it. So that will make it even tastier. Let's blend. Okay, now we have our pumpkin smoothie. Bright color, as you can see. Pumpkin is very rich in nutrients, vitamin A, potassium, other minerals and vitamins. For persons who have high blood pressure, you need to have adequate potassium in your body to help to reduce your blood pressure. So c'est moun la ki ni pressure, ebe sick diabetes. Ou vle pou sa ka bwe ji ki healthy. So nou ka kwe se drink sa smoothies. So pito pou ka bwe warm, ebe sa ou ka kwe soft drink, ebe juice ki top dwe top sick ki pa bo pou sante ou. Nou ka encourage ou pou bwe se smoothies la paske yo ni fruit et you need régime. So folks, there you have it. Beautiful colors. We have our 4 smoothies. We have our green. We have our pumpkin, our beets, and our pineapple and coconut milk. And these are packed with nutrients. They are low in sugar and very nutritious for your health. So make sure you try those at home. They can actually be a replacement for meals, and you add some protein like flax seeds, chia seeds to make it thicker and more nutritious. You can also add some peanut butter or some nuts, cashew. You can add some oats. You know, your smoothies can be very exciting, tasty, and nutritious. And so, but pay attention to the portion sizes. Like any other foods, portion sizes are important. Thank you for watching My Plate, a Healthy Plate. Stay tuned for more tips on healthy eating. I am Lisa Hunt, your nutritionist. Cheers to good health.
Smoothies, I must say, you're bien bon. So some very interesting, as you see, different takes, some with more vegetables, some with fruits, some with a mixture. So I definitely hope that I'll definitely try that pumpkin spice one. Never thought of making a smoothie with pumpkin, but I love the idea of pumpkin spice. So definitely one I will try. I hope you got some ideas today as to different smoothies that you can make away from what you probably usually do. And also tips on when you're going to put your smoothies, what you want to ask for and what you want to ensure is not added to your smoothie in terms, you know, the extra sweeteners, the syrups, etc. So just if any, you know, final words. I know we discussed beforehand about the video, so if you just have any wrap-up words for our audience today.
Yeah, and just that smoothies can be used as a way to get fruits and vegetables into your diet. particularly for the children who do not like vegetables. So use it, play around with it, make it exciting, fun. It doesn't have to be an everyday thing, but it's a good replacement for the juices, the soft drinks that the children are consuming nowadays. So, try some simple recipes for your children and make sure that they are getting some vegetables and fruits in their diets.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Hunt. And as you mentioned with the children, it's even something that, so instead of purchasing the box drinks and the box juices, you can always give them, as the juice for the day. We encourage, water on most days, but if you are going to incorporate juice a few days during the week, it's something to consider. A lot of us now have, those thermos cups or something that will keep a drink cool for you for a few hours. So you can use one of those and, give your child a portion of that smoothie that you make so they could take to school. They could have it in the morning or have it at break time. And then you've incorporated some good healthy fruits and vegetables into their diet for the day. So definitely another tip there.
We have so many fruits. We have guavas now, we have soursop, and all of those can be incorporated into our smoothies.
And I'm sure maybe in the future shows Ms. Hunt will provide us with a few extra recipes. I'm sure we can check online and get some other ideas, and hopefully we at the ministry can probably help maybe on our social media pages to add some additional recipes for you. So thank you so much once again for joining us for this episode of The Wellness Hour. My name is Delphina Vuna. It's been a pleasure to be with you today. Such an informative show, and we hope to see you again in our next show. Do enjoy the rest of the week and have a safe weekend.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star of television in St. Lucia with our stunning 100% HD quality, fresh exciting programming, including a balanced professional newscast. We are now the fastest growing TV station in all time slots on cable. Additionally, over 10,000 households carry our plug and play antennas. Our mobile app has over 11,000 users and over 300,000 users worldwide. Keyword to find our free app.